Let me start with a truth you already felt. Long before you ever said it out loud, a man can love you deeply and still lose interest like a flame slowly starving for air. One day, he looks at you with fire, obsessed, locked in, drawn to you like gravity. The next day, his energy shifts. His tone drops. His presence fades. His eyes stop lingering on you the way they used to. And you ask yourself, what changed? What did I do wrong? Why does he feel so far away? But here's the dark truth. Men don't lose interest when they stop loving you. They lose interest the moment love becomes too powerful. Because power terrifies him. Vulnerability exposes him. And you, yes, you, suddenly hold the kind of emotional influence he never learned how to survive. Tonight, I'm going to take you inside the male mind, deep into the shadows, where logic falls apart and instincts take over. The fear, the panic, the ego collapse, the trauma, the thrill addiction, the emotional blind spots he hides behind. By the end of this, you won't just understand why he pulled away, you'll be able to see it coming, long before he even realizes it himself. So sit still, lean in. We're going into the dark. Picture this moment. You're with him. Maybe it's night. Maybe you're laughing, or sharing something small, or sitting in silence that feels warmer than touch, and then a flicker, a tiny shift in his eyes, a micro-expression, so subtle you almost miss it. But that flicker is the first crack. Dark psychology calls this the vulnerability alarm. It's the moment a man feels something he didn't expect to feel yet. She matters. She can affect me. She can hurt me. She can change me. And that realization is more terrifying than losing you. Because emotional exposure is the weakness he spent his entire life hiding. So he pulls back, not because he wants to, but because his instincts order him to. He becomes quieter, slower to respond, harder to read, like he's trying to put emotional distance between himself and the danger of caring too much. But cracks don't stay small. And the next one, it isn't quiet at all. Here's something you don't realize. Men rarely run from you. They run from who they think they need to become to keep you. Your love, your consistency, your presence creates pressure, not because you demand anything, but because he does. Inside his mind, the questions start forming. Can I handle this? Am I enough for them? What if I disappoint them? What if they see who I really am? This psychological tension is known as self-worth compression. You become the mirror he's terrified to look into. Because loving you means being seen, fully, deeply, honestly, and some men aren't ready to face the version of themselves that love reflects. So instead of stepping up, he pulls away. He detaches to avoid failing you. He withdraws to avoid disappointing you. He distances himself to avoid exposing his flaws. And you interpret it as losing interest. But in reality, he's drowning in the pressure of the person he thinks he's supposed to be for you. And just when you think it can't get more complicated, the next stage brings something even darker. Let's go back to the beginning. The calls, the long texts, the spark in his voice, the hunger in his eyes. That wasn't just love. That was dopamine, the neurotransmitter of thrill, chase, anticipation. You were the unknown, the unpredictable, the exciting mystery. But here's the harsh biological reality. The male brain is wired to crave pursuit, not possession. The moment he feels he has you, the chase ends. And when the chase ends, dopamine drops. This shift is called the reward crash. He mistakes the calm for boredom. He mistakes the stability for loss of passion. He mistakes the comfort for disinterest. But really, he never learned how to love. After the adrenaline fades, love that stays requires emotional maturity. Love that lasts demands consistency. But many men only know the first stage, the thrill. The spark doesn't die. The chemical high does, and he panics, thinking something's wrong. But the next stage isn't panic. It's pain resurfacing from places he never healed. Every man carries ghosts. Ghosts from childhood. Ghosts from heartbreak. Ghosts from betrayal. Wounds he never addressed, because society taught him to move on instead of heal. But the moment he starts loving you, those ghosts wake up. Dark psychology calls this trauma reactivation. Your love triggers abandonment wounds, trust issues, fear of loss, fear of being seen, fear of being replaced, fear of not being good enough. Suddenly, emotion doesn't feel like connection. It feels like danger. And instead of getting closer, he withdraws. Not from you, but from what loving you forces him to confront inside himself. The pain he buried begins bubbling up, and he mistakes it for doubt. But you haven't even seen the darkest trigger yet, because sometimes he doesn't lose interest in you. He loses interest in the version of you he imagined. Here's the truth nobody wants to talk about. Men fall in love with the idea of you long before they fall in love with the real you, the mystery, the distance, the unpredictability, the unknown. But once he gets closer, once he starts seeing your real emotions, your real needs, your real vulnerability, the fantasy cracks. Not because you're not enough, but because the image he created was never real. This psychological drop is called idealization collapse. The fantasy fades, reality appears, and he panics, not because of you, but because of his own unrealistic expectations. He didn't lose interest. He lost the illusion, and some men never learned how to stay after the illusion breaks. But the next stage is even more painful, because it's not about you. It's about him losing faith in himself. Let me tell you a truth. Most men will never say out loud. They pull away when they stop recognizing themselves. Career stress, failure, disappointment, unhealed insecurity, pressure to be a man. When life hits him hard, something breaks inside him, and that break affects everything, including how he sees you. This collapse is called identity dissociation. He feels lost, disconnected, directionless, and in that state, love doesn't feel comforting. It feels heavy, because loving you requires a version of himself he no longer feels connected to. So he withdraws not from the relationship, but from himself. And while he's fighting himself, he starts feeling something else. He never admits inferiority. A man can adore you and still feel like he cannot match you. Your strength, your clarity, your stability, your emotional awareness, your progress, your confidence. Instead of inspiring him, it intimidates him. Dark psychology calls this status inferiority withdrawal. It's when a man realizes you are evolving faster than he can keep up with, not financially, emotionally, and suddenly, being with you feels like a comparison. He keeps losing, so he pulls back to protect his ego, not because he doesn't love you, but because he doesn't feel worthy of you. But even strong, confident men withdraw, and their reason is colder. Attraction doesn't die loudly, it dies quietly, in routines, in predictability, in sameness, in comfort. And here is the darkest truth. Stability kills excitement. In the male brain much faster than it does in the female brain. When everything becomes predictable, his mind stops releasing dopamine. This shift is called emotional flatline. He begins to think, something's missing. Why don't I feel the spark anymore? Did I choose wrong? Is this all there is? But the truth is, nothing is missing. He simply never learned how to fuel desire in a long-term dynamic. But the next stage is where his fear becomes strategy. Men need control. Control makes them feel grounded, secure, steady. But loving you places him in a psychological paradox. The more he loves you, the less control he has. He cannot control whether you stay, whether you leave, whether you change, whether you hurt him, whether life separates you, whether he measures up. This fear leads to preemptive emotional exit. he starts pulling away, not because he wants an ending, but because he wants protection from a hypothetical future that hasn't even happened. He leaves emotionally before he can get left physically. But the next reason isn't fear, it's ego. Men are simpler than you think. In the beginning, you admired him, validated him, appreciated him, looked up to him. That admiration boosted his identity. But over time, you became more confident, more stable, more self-secure, and without realizing it, your energy changed. And suddenly, he doesn't feel like the hero anymore. This ego crash is called value reflection drop. He feels less wanted, less needed, less admired. And when a fragile ego stops feeling valuable, interest collapses, not because of you, but because he depended on the way you made him feel more than he depended on the connection itself. But the darkest truth of all is the last one. Some men know how to start love. Few know how to sustain it. They know how to chase, how to impress, how to conquer, how to excite. But they don't know how to maintain passion, how to communicate deeply, how to choose you daily, how to handle real emotions, how to show up consistently. This psychological deficit is called attachment incompetence. He didn't lose interest. He ran out of skill. He loved you as far as he could. His emotional capacity ended long before his feelings did. He was never taught the kind of love you were ready for. Stop blaming yourself for his psychological limits. Do not chase someone who is withdrawing. The more you chase, the more he fades. When he pulls back, pull back twice as far. Protect your emotional territory. Never negotiate your worth. If a man cannot meet your emotional level, do not shrink to match his. Stay mysterious, stay independent, stay unpredictable enough to keep his mind awake. Watch his patterns, not his promises. Leave before you lose yourself. If this felt like the truth you've been trying to explain to yourself, if it exposed the patterns you sensed but couldn't name, then don't leave yet. Like this video, subscribe, comment your story below. Because somewhere, right now, someone is losing interest in you silently. And the only question that matters is, will you recognize the signs before they break you or after?